Well, it feels like Vox just jumped the shark. Well, it seems like a statement that happens a lot. I think they should just be referred to as the professional shark jumpers, and especially in this latest piece, they seem to have absolutely lost it, at least in my opinion, with their article that is titled, "The Government Failed to Stop the Last Recession. It Can Prevent the Next One," with a 7-point delusional bullet point program of universal basic income, a cashless society, and just a total totalitarian government state that controls every aspect of your life. It definitely does seem like the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez news publication, or the Yang Gang publication, to say the least. But just, Jason, from the very beginning, I'm already slightly triggered from the title in itself, because it's already bringing up an important point I want to make here. The first claim here in the title: the government failed to stop the last recession. No. The government pretty much made the last recession happen, especially with all the deregulation, all the severe aspects of runaway lunacy connected with the quasi-private federal. I could keep going on and on. Again, it says here, it can prevent the next one. No, it can't. There's nothing preventing this huge bubble, unless you're living in some kind of delusional reality that up is down, white is black, and black is white. There's no way the government can stop this downturn, and these bullet points that they profess here will only escalate us further into a bigger recession. The byline says here, Congress could do a lot right now to make the next downturn easier. Article starts off, I worry a lot about how we're going to handle the next recession. Okay, there's a little bit of factor. There is going to be a next recession. There is going to be a next economic downturn, most likely even bigger, a severe one, a more severe one than in 2018, because it doesn't follow the usual cycles, and this cycle is building up to be a huge one. And the last big economic crisis was pretty much paid over by government decisions of literally inflating a bubble even more, and when it's going to pop, it's not going to be good. But Jason, let's go over some of the points here, and feel free to interrupt me at any time. The first one is pay out more food stamps when unemployment is high. And I say, with what money? States are cash strapped. New York City is going absolutely bankrupt. Major cities with a lot of welfare and food stamps, they're going under. And of course, people wouldn't be as downtrodden as they are if it wasn't for government banning people to start their own businesses with all the regulations and controls. You can't even, Jason, have a lemonade stand in many parts of this country because the government's going to come in there and shut you down. I know you're smiling because you have some things to say, and we probably disagree on some of these things, but go ahead here. Point 2, I kind of agree with. Automatically cut payroll taxes. Cut all taxes. Stop all forms of taxation. Theft, really. That's my take. Jason, cut me off.
I'm going to stop you right here because I want to be in a place called reality, where government does exist.
Oh, come on.
And you just don't abolish all the governments of the world because it's an impossibility, because there's, 6 to 7 billion of us, and there's established governments everywhere. But okay, let's start with...
That's not the argument I'm making. I'm saying cut taxes.
Well, again, I knew there were going to be a couple you liked in this. There's 9 points in here.
I only like 2.
Yeah, exactly.
I only like 2, only partially.
Yeah, and that's what I figured. I figured you were going to hate 7 of them, and that's fine. So the first one, let's just revamp this up. Pay out more food stamps when unemployment is high. What they're telling you is when there is less jobs available to people and less people working, let's give out more benefits. Benefits cost money. They cost money. Not only that, but we have a welfare, a food stamp, a WIC program in this country for people to help support their families if they are unable to find unemployment. Hell, we also have disability. I go on and on and on. There's a ton of programs on there. So I don't know why we would increase food stamp production, because again, you can't just make something out of nothing and not expect the overall value to decrease or inflation to go up. But we'll get to inflation a little bit later. When they say automatically
cut, that's the whole delusional statism aspect. You got to raise taxes if you want to have more money. You raise taxes, people are going to flee. I'm right now in Arizona, beautiful Arizona. Many people from California are running here because of the low taxes, low social, programs out here, and the state is thriving in so many different aspects. But again, the biggest welfare that happens out there is corporate welfare. Why doesn't Vox talk about that? Oh, because it's probably they probably do on some instances. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. But to me, if you really want to fix a lot of the economic aspects of the huge bubble that we're in, the first thing you have to address is corporate welfare to huge industries that are siphoning money and creating crony capitalism. This is why we are having such a stupid economic situation that we have right now, because government is just being bought and sold by the highest interest, and they're playing around with money like it's just zeros and ones on a computer screen. In reality, that's not the case, and that's why a lot of states, and that's why this country is in so much debt. All right, go on, Jason.
Yeah, so now if you look at automatically cut payroll taxes, I'm actually for this if we're not talking about the corporations such as Amazon that reap an $11 to $12 billion profit per year and pay $0 in federal taxes. That's a big problem. However, if we were to cut payroll taxes on small, medium, and somewhat large-sized businesses, mom and pop shops, small little things that you wouldn't say chains, but say there's like 3 or 4 diners or 3 or 4 bars with the same names, I think that is an excellent idea. It's one of the very few things that I agree with in this program. But now you get down to the next one, Luke, and honestly, this is something I've kind of been advocating for in a regulated fashion, but I don't like how they're putting it here. For instance, they say government-created jobs when unemployment rises. Again, if this happens, how are we paying these people? But if we're
How are you for this, Jason? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. But again, if we're going to do this, shouldn't we make it something that is not mundane, something that will actually help? And there's been 2 instances where I think presidents did the right thing. For instance, when you talk about the original... Wait,
hold on, Jason, hold on. I want to still, before you get into all that, I still want to, because you say you're for the government creating jobs. The government doesn't create jobs. The government takes away jobs, steals jobs from the American people, not only with corporate welfare, getting rid of fair market conditions and competition, but with the just extreme amount of regulation, amount of control. We've seen it in Venezuela. The government wants a whole wall of documents, literally documents with all the permissions that you have to get, all the licenses, all the regulations, a whole wall in every single store with another wall. Literally, in Venezuela, you can't have a building and a business without 2 walls dedicated to the government. The first wall, huge, no smoking sign, no gun, no gun sign, in the murder capital of the world. Gee whiz, what happened there? And another wall filled with permits and regulations. Look at this de Blasio one. De Blasio program spent $300 million to create jobs, only created supposedly 3,000 of them. Jobs created by government are pretty much bureaucratic DMV jobs. That you like the DMV, Jason? Do you think the DMV is efficient? Do you like how the post office is run? I don't. I go to the post office, and it's absolute lunacy. I don't want more government jobs, less government jobs. Can't believe you believe in that. But
all right,
again,
so let's
disagree.
Let's bring it back to reality, and we're going to get back to my original point of government-created jobs in a moment. But you just brought up the post office and the DMV. All are not created equal. I have been to large city DMVs and post offices, and as you say, they are nightmarish. However, my local post office...
Nightmarish? Oh, are you kidding me? It's the absolute lunacy
again
of just how that system is run shows you how government is run.
Man, different strokes for different folks. And the bottom line around here is there are some good ones. I know you're not going to like to hear that, but that is the truth. There are some good ones around here, and they're pretty easygoing. Now, when I'm talking about government-created jobs, again, not something out of nowhere, not something nothing for our money, but I'm going to name 2 instances in history where I think it was the right thing and we got something out of it. First, the real New Deal, not the green one we're talking about, the one Ocasio-Cortez said was racist, but the Works Progress Administration, you can still see some of the sidewalks, some of the work they did today, especially in New York, which is a WPA state, in my hometown. I still see that stuff. The second one would be, and let me finish, would be Eisenhower creating our modern day highway system. That was huge. That was a big move. And I believe today we do need a mass transit system. I think that Maglev trains are the way to go. If we were to do that in major cities and urban areas, we would change the way people work throughout this country. It's something that we could do while we don't get rid of planes, we don't get rid of regular trains. We ease into it. I think that we do need a mass transportation system, and that's the type of government-created program or job I would like to see. Not these, joke jobs that if you look at the numbers there, de Blasio creating, again, what was it, 3,000 jobs at $300 million? I believe that's jobs that should pay, if you looked at the numbers, at least $100,000 a year, and I would doubt all 3,000 of those jobs were paying $100K a year. Maybe even more than that. It's very poorly managed. I cannot disagree with you.
Yeah, and then like around half of that has to go to the state because you're living in New York City. Have you ever been to the MTA? You want a whole train system across this country run by the government? You ever been at the MTA? Do you know how rat-filled, bureaucratic, dumb, stupid, and inadequate that system is? It's a great system because, again, it works, but it has many flaws in it, and it's being run inefficiently, and it's being a huge money pit for New York City that is literally losing money. You've been hanging out with Lex Tarpley too much. But again, agree to disagree. Let's go on to the next one. Force down electric, water, heat, and cable bills. I mean, this is pretty much socialism.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Much what happened.
I don't like
that's
it.
pretty much what happened in Venezuela.
But let me stop you. Let me stop you, Luke.
Yeah.
What they should be doing, what the government is set out to do, which it does not do, is to regulate monopolies. So when you look at something like cable, internet,
they're controlled by the monopolies,
and that's the problem. So they're not busting up monopolies, but I
so
find
why
a very
should you trust the government to create more monopolies by empowering them more?
Well, again, I find it a problem that they're going to force rates when there has been no collusion proven. So in other words, monopolies get broken up when the market is fixed. And these people are working with one another to fix a price. If a price has not been fixed and it's the fair market value, I see no need for the government to come in and try to regulate that unless there is just an absolute monopoly, which in most of these cases we're not going to see. So yes, I am very, very upset with number 4. I think we agree on that. Just like I would agree that you can't just promise to forgive mortgages. Are we giving away houses?
Yeah.
Are we giving them away?
5. Yeah, promise to just forgive it. Just don't worry about it. Yeah, it doesn't exist. To create this bubble even bigger, we need the government to come in and help prevent this recession and this big bubble filled with fake numbers that they lied and siphoned in and use the mind control psychology of government to convince the people that the government's going to fix this when they created it in the first place. Sorry, Jason. Absolutely insane. Absolute lunacy. Promise to forgive mortgages. I mean, come on. Like, what kind of world are they living in? Should we move on to the next one? Change what the Fed is targeting. The Fed, again, just a whole other quasi-private institution. Go ahead, Jason.
And by the way, I just want to say this. 6, 7, and 8 all interrelate, right? So 6 starts talking about what the Fed is targeting. But then you'll see they're talking about inflation rates, the national gross domestic product, and then the 7th is try for higher inflation. Are you out of your effing mind? And by the way, the 3rd one is to have the Fed distribute cash directly to the people. But we'll get to that in a moment.
That's going to go well. That's going to go really
So what
well.
we have is, hey, we need to give more power to the Fed. They need to target certain things. We need more inflation so your money is worth less and you can buy less goods and services. And when all that doesn't work, Luke, why don't we just have the Fed distribute cash directly to the people? And then if you scroll down, what do they refer to? Oh, that's right, the universal, here it is right here, perhaps through a universal basic income style cash payment to the adults of households, or by cutting payroll tax rates and paying for the differences in printed money. Yeah. See, they're trying to make it into a tax break. It's not a tax break. A universal basic income is literally going to slit the throat of humanity. Are you obsolete as a human being? Do you have no value? Do you depend on the government to give you free stuff to survive? That's the question.
And of course, the government's going to use that as a form of control and manipulation that we're seeing in so many different ways. But yeah, why not trust the quasi-private Federal Reserve banking system that has the big banks pretty much on the board of directors and interchanging seat behind some of the biggest criminals that have engineered crises just to profit off of you? Why shouldn't you just trust them? Let's trust big government because they never would hurt you or do anything bad against you. Come on. And the next one, point number 9, is really the major one, really the one that jumps the shark here to my reference that I made earlier in this video, and that is, quote, abolish cash money. Total control. Total systems where the government knows every little transaction that happens so they could tax it, so they could control it, so they could regulate you. Oh, you speak out against this? We could just shut off your accounts, and they're doing that already. There's people who are being shut down by major banking institutions for, saying things like, oh, I don't believe in immigration. That's literally happening in the United States right now. Not only with online companies, PayPal, Google, YouTube, Twitter, just totally shutting people's voices down, but also big banks and people with bank accounts are being shut down. Lyft, Airbnb. Soon, if you have a political opinion that the society or the controllers don't agree with, you'll be absolutely shut down and you won't be able to exist. And abolishing cash is one way of doing that. This is crazy, Jason. Absolutely insane.
I mean,
do you agree with this?
If you're looking at this right now, it's something I've talked about for the better part of 15 plus years, that abolishing cash money is one of the final steps in a total control grid based in a track, trace, and database system where, like you said, all of your assets can be turned off, hacked, within the press of a button. Is that what we want as a society? Do we want less freedom? Do we want more taxation? Do we want more control? For what? Convenience? If you haven't noticed, most places right now have 2 separate prices for gas. Most restaurants right now are adding a 3 to 10% charge on your card when you say debit or credit instead of paying cash. Why? Because the fees have already gotten out of control. The fees of managing the imaginary ones and zeros that are out there that are not backed up by gold, that are not backed up by assets, that are not backed up by bonds, that are not backed up by anything but a criminal cartel telling us what it's worth. That's dangerous enough. You put that into a full digital format and you force the people into it, that's it. It's over. We're screwed.
I think it's only fair if we give our kind of solutions to this, since Vox talks about the next economic depression. My solution to this, let me know what you guys think below, where you guys stand on this kind of debate, because me and Jason see things differently, but we still, respectfully have this conversation. Jason, I'm going to just kind of ad-lib. You believe that there should be government, but good government. You believe in good government doing and regulating this. This is what Jason kind of believes, right?
No,
Okay.
You said good
Just
government.
give a short synopsis. Let me give you my synopsis,
Yeah.
and you give your synopsis in a short sentence. I believe the problem the main solution to fix the problem of this big economic recession is, of course, move slowly away from government, less regulations, less taxation, less permits, less government boot, until we move into a system that's actually fair, not crony capitalistic, not a system where government allows you to do something or not allowed to do something, slowly moving away where the responsibility is solely on the individual as a sovereign human being to decide his or her destiny in an economic free market away from government. That's my kind of solution to it. Jason, short synopsis, what's yours? And then we'll let the people decide in the comment section. And then we could also end it.
Yeah, I'm for the judicial and executive and legislative branches to have equal say in government, a system of checks and balances that we used to have. I believe that when corruption happens, collusion happens, monopolies happen, they step in and do their job. It's a minimalistic government. The national security state has to end. The Federal Reserve has to end. And we have to back our currency with something hard, whether that be gold, silver, some type of asset. And then hold on to that. We can't just back it with an imaginary economy with a bunch of guys that are unelected as a quasi-government organization, the Federal Reserve, deciding. That's the truth. Anarchy is not. I'm sorry we disagree, Luke, but my head is not in the clouds.
Responsibility, individually, and deciding your own destiny. Whatever you want to call that. I don't think we should have anarchy overnight, but I think we should slowly start moving towards the direction, towards more freedom. But again, that's fine. We all disagree. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let us know what else you would like to see from us. If you have any videos you want us to react to, let us know on our individual Twitter accounts. We have @WeAreChange New York City. Mine is @LukeWeAreChange. Jason is @JasonBremeses. So feel free to send us any videos you want us to react to or stories you want us to cover. We look forward to your feedback, and I hope you guys are watching and enjoying independent media. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.